live from Sister Basebone Studios. Holistic Alchemy is a healing company providing conversations, consultations, coaching, and other services to promote positive, liberating, and sustainable self-care practices. Welcome to Holistically Speaking. I am Iyalami. I am the founder and visionary of Holistic Alchemy. I am a body liberation and self-care coach and sound healer. This podcast is centered around conversations around self-love, self-care, and well-being for Black women. And today, we're going to talk with my beautiful sister, my Sands and Soror. Officially, Women's History ended on Sunday. But since I am a woman, and this podcast is for women, and Holistic Alchemy is a company for women, we're going to continue this celebration of women no matter what month it is. So today, I want to celebrate someone who is living and researching her passion for mental health with a fierceness. I am so happy to have my line sister from the 57 Ladies of Distinction from the Dayton, Ohio alumni chapter on my podcast. I have Miss Brittany Collins. Hello, Brittany.
Hello. Yes. I love everything about that.
Well, that is all beautiful. Of you. But I need to tell the audience who you are. So I'm going to let them in a little bit more on who you are. So Brittany, you are the owner of Developing Me Coaching, Counseling, and Therapy. You're a second-year doctoral student and graduate research and teaching assistant in the counselor education program in the School of Human Services within the College of Education, Criminal Justice, and Human Services at the University of Cincinnati. Woo! That's a mouthful.
Yeah,
you are out. That's a lot, right? You're an adjunct faculty member at the University of Dayton in the counselor education program and licensed to practice as a professional counselor and chemical dependency counselor assistant in the state of Ohio. You are a nationally certified counselor and you received your MSED or your master's in education, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
correct.
From the University of Dayton in clinical and mental health counseling. I can go on and on. I'm actually going to just give people more of a snippet of your bio on my Facebook page and on my Instagram page because you have a very impressive background. So today we're going to talk to you, Brittany, about your journey, your passion. And so just tell us a little bit about how you got into this field.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. It is truly a blessing, and I am humbled by this opportunity and just all the gifts that God has given me and just being able to connect with my fans back with you. I'm proud of you, what you're doing with your podcast and everything. So this is awesome.
Thank you.
Just for women, for mental health as a whole, it's awesome.
Yes.
So when it comes to mental wellness, I like to think of, through my writing, my passion is personal. When it comes to advocacy, when it comes to research, when it comes to mental wellness, it's a personal journey. Mm-hmm. So throughout my family dynamic, through developing as a former collegiate student athlete, as a teacher, coach, mentor to teens and young adults, I saw mental well-being and the importance of it all around me. I just didn't know the language of it at that time, right? Mm-hmm. So the seed was planted early in my life. So it was, mental health, mental wellness, the importance of it was all around me. I believe in the gift of discernment and wisdom, and I believe that was instilled in me early on to just be mindful of those things around me. So God has continued to just water that, and then it's coming into fruition now, just through my own personal story throughout life and, through family dealing with it. So, yeah, it definitely has just come full circle, and it's amazing just walking in my passion and my purpose now.
Isn't it something? And I'm telling you, same here. I mean, in terms of just full circle, you understand why you were, and let me speak for myself. I understand why I
Hmm.
had to experience certain things to get to where I am
Yeah.
now, to be able to share with women, my journey through body dissatisfaction, and even my journey with living and loving someone with a mental illness. That's how I got to this whole self-care piece, because I knew, Brittany, that
Yeah.
I had to take care of myself and do self
Mm.
care in the midst of managing, this loved one with a mental illness. So
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, you're right on point there in terms of, one, it is a blessing to be able to live and work your passion, And I like what you said in your bio. You said that you work from a holistic, strength based feminist perspective. So I'm
Yeah.
going to come out the block on you real quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
Why feminist perspective? See, because I consider myself a womanist. And if you're
Okay.
and if you're not familiar with the term was dropped by Audre Lorde, excuse me, not Audre Lorde, excuse me, Alice Walker, and
Hmm.
the term womanist. So I want to hear your perspective. Why do you say feminist perspective?
Well, that's something that I've learned just throughout my journey of being a female student athlete, collegiate student athlete. When we think about Title IX initiative, when we think about the Black feminist movement as well, even through research and my theory of interest with research from a feminist-based perspective. But overall, I just feel like it encompasses like power differentials and taking away that power differential, and that's been my experience throughout my journey in life, and it's a part of me. And just empowering others to share their story and giving them a platform to have that. So that's how I define the feminist perspective. But I love how you put it in the way you put it in the womanist perspective. I love that as well. I think it's a parallel process. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's good. When I saw it, I was like, let me ask her where did she come from.
yeah.
But I love that. That is so important. So what is well? I want to hit this question here early on because it's so right now. There's so much happening in our world, that
Yeah.
in regards to, the suicides. I mean, it is unbelievable that now, I mean, we're seeing I mean, there's always suicide. I get that. But it just
Yes.
seems like even more, and it's, the attributing to mental health. But I want to
Mhm.
land this question on you. How can mental health be destigmatized in communities of colors? Because, we have, for those of us who come from communities of color, um, we have this stigma of, you don't go get help. You know, you either go to church or you pray it away.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
this idea that you don't talk to the crazy person. It's and then
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
using the terms like that, crazy, I'm bipolar, those are stigmatizing as well, right? So
Right.
what can or how can mental health be destigmatized within these communities?
I think that's an awesome question, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's It starts with changing the language. I think we kind of desensitize mental health by using it as a slang term when we talk about like, oh, I'm bipolar, like
Right,
speaking it
right.
into ourselves. Or like, oh, I'm acting so bipolar today. It's like, no, no, let's not play
Yes,
with that. Like,
that's
let's
right.
not speak that into
Yes.
ourselves. Or that person is bipolar, and so you get desensitized to it, like as if it's a joke, or just like you stated. It's the mentality of you only go and seek mental health treatment if you're quote unquote crazy.
Oh yes.
So it's like, no, that's not it. It's about, and a lot of it I think is wrapped around fear, the fear of feeling. And there's so much fear throughout just generations when it comes to mental health or just being open and being allowed to feel and being allowed to share your story with someone. So I feel like I'm from the holistic perspective, like praying, church, spirituality, yes, it's a part of it, but we're only touching on a piece of it. We're
Right.
not getting, we need to say it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
And it's okay to be okay and still feel the need to talk to someone. And
Absolutely.
so it's like, it's okay to talk to someone. And so I look at counseling or going to talk to a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist, anybody, it's like a GPS. You're going to go and put in your GPS. You're going to have Uber take you around. But a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist is there to give you guidance and direction.
Yeah. Yes.
So you wouldn't question going to a doctor, for physical. So
Right.
why would you question going to talk to somebody for mental when you need some clarity or there's some direction that you need or you're feeling lost? So I think it's about changing the language and really having the discussion. And I don't know, it's a lot of learned behavior. So
Yes.
unlearning that behavior and unlearning that language and reprogramming to where it's saying it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to be okay and still feel the need to talk to someone.
That's right, and I love that. I mean, the unlearning is so important, and the changing the language, and what I also think that it is to really have concrete conversations starting at a young age about feelings and being aware, because again, what you said earlier is about the fear of feeling. We have to have, I mean, I actually bring out the feeling wheel chart when I'm having conversations like, so how are you feeling? Let's look at one of these words. Let's talk about this, so that's when we begin to address feelings and unpack that. Which is so very important. And then removing that language, and then also thinking about, let's stop boasting about being the strong Black woman. Now that's because I want to say it's okay to not be strong sometimes, right? We take it to this level of, I'm the strong Black woman. I have to take care of all of this by myself and yada yada yada. We need to stop that. We need to stop that, because that is feeding into this idea that people who are not capable of handling things, are weak, and then they therefore need some services, right? So that's another way I think that we need to look at handling our mental wealth, our health, our mental health, not mental health, right?
Our mental health is well. So
yes.
That's good. That was a Freudian slip right
that's
there.
Right,
it
was. Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of that, so I want to share with you, I read this article just recently. Actually, it was sent to me a day or so ago. It was entitled "Black Women Let Your Anger Out." And yes, and this was by the writer named Joshonda Sanders, and I'll probably put a link up on my Facebook and Instagram. But this is a powerful article that addresses the issues and the effects and reasons Black women hide their anger. So I want to talk about a few things she says and just get your thoughts. She says the constant refrain of respectability politics, explicitly or implicitly, is that marginalized people must rise above racism and sexism and the emotions they inspire, such as anger, depression, and anxiety, in order to gain favor from those in power. I'm going to say that one more time. Or one more again.
Please.
So
that was deep.
Wasn't it deep? Right. So she says the constant refrain of respectability politics that those of us who are of color have to play, right? Explicitly or implicitly, is that marginalized people must rise above racism and sexism and the emotions they inspire, such as anger, depression, and anxiety, in order to gain favor from those in power. So we have to, what I essentially, be the good one, and she even said in the article, she quoted Michelle Obama's quote, when they go lower, you go higher. She talked about that a
Mhm.
little bit. So we have to then play a game, if you will,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And to ignore, or to, as she says, rise above racism, sexism, and I'm going to add homophobism, all of that, and and submerge our anger, our depression, and our anxiety.
Yes.
Right. So, how do you talk to women about addressing their anger?
So all I love that you brought this up because even when we talked about changing the language, I was thinking about anger and how we were taught not to. We're not allowed to be angry, or anger is bad. It was
Right.
like this, and I think of when I think of the article in which you said, I think of Paul Laurence Dunbar's poem "We Wear the Mask."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right, so we wear the mask that grins and lies and hides our
Mm-hmm.
cheeks and shades our eyes. Right, the debt we pay to
Yes.
human guile.
That's
With
right.
torn and bleeding hearts, we smile. So we hold all
Yes.
that in. We
Yes.
smile. We show up. We show up, and
That's
then we
right.
go home, and it's like, how do we unload all of that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you show the emotion? When are you allowed to? And
Right.
I even think of just not even just being a minority woman, but also I stand 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
So even my presence, I feel like sometimes, like I have to bring it down. Like, let me not be
Mm.
intimidating to somebody. So I have to
Right.
be overly friendly or overly nice, or even being a former female collegiate student athlete. Like, we were allowed to be aggressive, but don't be overly aggressive because you're still a lady.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, what is going on?
The
And you are
respectability
anxious.
politics.
And you have to respect it. You
Yeah.
have to respect it. It is a business. So it's all about that self care, and it's all
Mm-hmm.
about being able to tell your story. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
big on that narrative,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to talk to somebody and be authentic and being able to unload and
Right.
let it out. And the importance of it is you're allowed to be angry,
Yes.
you're allowed to show emotion. It's how you show it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what we have to
Mm-hmm.
understand and know how to. Conflict is not bad. Like conflict, anger, it's there for a reason. But it's how we show it, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
learning how to let it out in a positive way, in a positive manner. So again, it's like learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning positive ways to cope with that anger, ways to let it out and not feel like you have to apologize or say sorry all the time for being angry.
Right.
Like, why are we apologizing all the time? Why are we feeling like, oh, I got to show up like this person and then take that off when I get home,
Right.
or not, or when we're taking it home and we're letting it out on people that we love and care about, and that's not healthy.
No, it's not. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely about giving a space to share your story and your narrative and just why you feel the way that you feel, and again, changing the language. It's about
Mm-hmm.
educating and changing the language of saying that's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay, and getting rid of the weak. It's okay to be vulnerable. I think
Yes.
vulnerability is the key word there too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does not it's not going to happen overnight. And it's
It's not.
important, and I think it's important to teach children at a young age to be vulnerable, to be,
Yes.
because, and when we get into these gender roles, and a lot of
Mhm.
these gender roles, sometimes they perpetuate again or they know they do, they perpetuate these ideas that, and you can't be a boy and cry or weak, or all of that, and a girl cannot be angry, should not show those kinds of emotions. So again,
Yes.
it starts at an early age in breaking down those notions of, uh, I mean, that, I don't know, you get what I'm saying.
I do. I do get it, especially with twin boy girls. Like, this
Right.
definitely
Yes.
is something that, yeah. But I'm very mindful of that. But I'm thankful that I have that, and but a lot of parents do not have that. So again, it goes back to that education, and it's going to take time.
It's going to
It's
take
going to
time.
take time.
Yeah, yeah. So the article she quotes, she pulls a quote from Audre Lorde that was said in a speech that was given at the National Women's Studies Association conference, I believe in 1981. And Audre Lorde introduced an intersectional vision of anger's usefulness in coping with racism, classism, and sexism. So she says,
Mm-hmm.
my response to racism is anger. She then went on to
Mm.
say that anger has eaten clefts into my living only when it remained unspoken. Black women are expected to use our anger only in the service of other people's salvation or learning, but
Mm-hmm.
that time is
Yeah.
over. Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Drop the
I'm like,
mic.
yep,
Yeah.
lift up. Yeah. Let that
Yes.
sit. Let that
Yes.
marinate.
So
That was good.
I did not want to tell the whole entire article because I believe that folks need to go out and read the article for yourself. So the article is
I agree.
entitled "Black Women Let Your Anger Out," and I'm going to post it on the website on my website, and it is in the online newspaper or online in these times. That's what it's called, in these times.com. Black Women Let Your Anger Out, and the writer is Joshonda Sanders. So how do you address as a counselor the mind, body, and spirit?
Well, so I definitely, again, this goes back to just my perspective and strength-based perspective, but I'm also use a lot of narrative um, therapy, and so I feel that I'm not the expert on the client's story. I allow them to come in, and I meet them where they are, and just share their story, and then kind of give guidance throughout there. So I definitely. With stress, if they're coming in with, say neck pain, back pain, can't sleep, we definitely go into like, okay, what is going on in your thoughts? Like, what are you thinking about? I'm definitely not big on like pushing medication. Like, I definitely go into educating before I'm talking about any type of medication if we do get to that point. But I'm big on mindfulness as well.
Yes.
So being in the present moment and teaching about that, deep breathing techniques. We go over that actually in sessions too. So I take a moment to just pause and be present and take a deep breath. But just understanding like what are we eating? Like what are you putting in your body? What do you have around you? And just opening that up after they share their story, like just really trying to pinpoint those things that
Good.
they might not see. So I use a lot of even motivational interviewing techniques to just align with them and use their words to mirror back to them like what I'm hearing.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. Coming from the holistic perspective, I am a certified holistic practitioner, so I always want to insert that question into my conversations, just to hear how other folks perceive what holistic, and how do they address, the mind, body, and spirit. So I have one last question for you before we go. What self
Okay.
care rituals do you have?
Wow. So you, as you already know, as my fans, music, music,
Yes,
music.
yes. And by the way, Brittany has a angelic voice. She is a beautiful songstress. I mean, she is amazing. So, okay, that's my little plug.
Thank you. I was like, oh, thank you so much. But that is something that, that truly, I just got chills just saying that. But that is a gift that God gave me that
Yes.
connects me to Him, I believe.
Yes.
And so that is my soul. That's my heart, where my heart is. So when I feel off balance or disconnected or something is off, I have to get in a quiet space and really reflect and put my music in or sing. I go take a walk. I can tell when I haven't been drinking enough water, so I pay attention to just my body and what's off. Like, why am I sluggish? Like, why am I tired? What did I eat today? So I really have to be present. So I practice mindfulness a lot.
Good.
And then just getting in a quiet space, and I can tell when I'm like, go, 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 where I have to really stop myself and be present. Be present with my kids. Be present with myself. Oftentimes we
Hello.
forget that.
Hello.
It's like we think everybody else, like, oh, I need to be present with myself.
Right.
Like, I'm not present with myself. So I do have to, I self-check a lot.
Good.
But music is definitely my go-to.
So you know what I'm going to ask you. You know what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, just
Yeah.
sing something real quick for us.
Okay. Oh, what song was on my heart today? It was I got it on. You take me over. Oh Lord, you take me over. You take me over. Oh Lord, your love amazes me. Yeah. You take me over.
Yes.
I don't want to go. I
Yes.
don't want to go in.
You're not trying to go in.
Listen, you'll take me out.
Right. I so love it. Thank you so much. Well, before we leave, where can people find you? And if they want to connect with you and learn more about developing me?
Yeah, so I am on Psychology Today. You can put in Developing Me or my name, Brittany L. Collins. I'm also on LinkedIn as well as Instagram. So you can find me through my name, Brittany L. Collins, as well as Developing Me, LLC.
Awesome. Awesome. I love you, my sister. I haven't seen you, but it doesn't matter. We are connected. And I thank you and I applaud you. And you know, I will continue to cheer you on as you are marching along the path that I am. And
Definitely.
yes, yes. And we will
We
celebrate.
are one.
What'd you
We
say?
are one. I said we are
We
one.
are
And I love
one.
you
That's
all.
right. That's right. Well, thank you. And thank you, all of you, for joining this podcast today. And I invite you to share this podcast and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Holistic Alchemy. Share the love with a sister friend, a sister cuz, a soror, a mother, daughter, aunt, or niece. And I hope you return again as we talk all things holistically speaking, from well-being, self-care, and self-love for Black women. Follow me on Instagram at Holistic Ialami or on Facebook at Holistic Alchemy. Until next time, this is Ialami.